Hey guys, and welcome back for some more TEW 2016. On the last episode, we just had, so far, our best Raw to date, so I'm hoping we can keep that momentum going and we could get the best SmackDown going, but it looks like before I jump into this, we have a locker room incident that we have to deal with. And before we jump into all of that, if you guys could leave a like and sub to my channel if you haven't already, that would definitely help me out. So let's go ahead and see what this locker room incident is all about. It looks like it's something to do with Edge. It looks like it's probably going to be a good thing. Edge brought pizza for the entire locker room, which made everyone happy. It seems to be a pretty common thing, so I'm like glad that everybody is just making everybody happy. So let's go ahead and start our card. So in our first pre-show match, we have a women's tag team match. I had Nydia and Dawn Marie team up against Daphne and Gail Kim. I definitely want to try to bring some more women up into our women's division because right now we don't have too many and there's definitely a lot more heels than faces. So it looks like the match didn't really perform well, but in terms of performance, Gail Kim's definitely got to stay in developmental for a little while. Daphne, we might be able to bring her up soon because she's pretty close in terms of performance to Nydia and not even really that much farther behind from Dawn Marie, so it might be something to think about. Then in our next pre-show match, we have Rob Conway facing off against Johnny Stamboli. Rob Conway in the last episode was complaining that he was ready to be brought up to the main roster, but he does not look ready as I thought. So we're going to leave him in OVW for a little while. Johnny Stamboli got a 36, so not too bad for where he's currently at, because I was thinking he'd probably get lower for some reason. And then in our final pre-show match, I just threw Crash Holly in with B squared. Crash Holly needed the momentum because he had pretty negative and we're just writing Bull Buchanan off anyway, so might as well just job him out at this point. B2 got a lot of heat backstage as it looks like Crash Holly got an injury, so I guess that was Bull Buchanan's nice way of saying bye to everybody. So now to start off SmackDown, we pretty much just had a similar scenario like I did on Raw, where we just pretty much went over everything that went on at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown side. Looks like it pretty much got a good rating, which I expected because I threw all our top guys in here, so that will give a boost to everybody and the show. And then to open the show, I kind of just had a squash match with Big Show and Funaki. Obviously, Big Show pulled off the win. And then afterwards, we see Big Show calling out Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit comes out and attacks him and accepts his challenge to a future match. So we will probably have these two face off at No Way Out. And then we have pretty much, it's just an interview with Matt Hardy, Ernest Miller. I think he was like a Velocity announcer, but he seemed to fit as the interviewer, so looks like that went pretty good. Matt Hardy got to talk a bunch of shit about Billy Kidman, who is going after the Cruiserweight champion because he's finally getting his rematch. And then of course Matt Hardy is currently in a hot feud with Rey Mysterio, so he's talking about him as well. And then in our Cruiserweight match, Matt Hardy ends up picking up the win, which means this is now his second title defense. The match looks like it did pretty decently. I see something down here. It looks like times there was a definite lack of psychology on display, which I guess maybe that means that these two aren't. Although it says above it that they have pretty good chemistry, so I'm not sure what that means. And then afterwards, a brawl starts because Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore continue to beat up Billy Kidman more, and then Rey Mysterio comes out for the save. Now we have Stephanie McMahon. She interrupted an argument it started originally between The Rock and Hulk Hogan, and then Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle got involved. So she decided, you know what, we're going to settle this in a tag team match. So The Rock is going to be teaming up with Kurt Angle to face Hulk Hogan and Brock Lesnar. Should be a pretty good main event because these are like our four biggest guys on SmackDown at the moment. So they seemed like a good team to pair together. Then we have a triple threat tag team match to determine the number one contender for the tag team champions. and Edge and John Cena ended up picking up the win. I don't really have many tag teams on SmackDown at the moment, so I figured, because I didn't really have many ideas for either John Cena or Edge, so it would be interesting to throw them in a tag team together to see what we can get out of that. And then after the match, Stephanie McMahon goes ahead and books the tag team match for next week, so we will see John Cena and Edge facing off against Eddie and Chavo. And then we have an interview with Kurt Angle and The Rock. They're pretty much ranting about how they do not like Lesnar and Hogan, and they're gonna win tonight's big tag team match. Next, we have a match with Rey Mysterio facing off against Canyon. Rey Mysterio picks up the win, and I am still trying to push Canyon up to at least an upper mid-carder, so I think this helped him out a little. He got an in-ring performance of 59, so not too terrible. Rey Mysterio got a 75, so that's really good. And then now we have a angle with Sting, and he is challenging Undertaker to a match at WrestleMania. Undertaker unfortunately did not come out to answer the challenge, so we will figure out in the future where this goes. Then in our main event, we had the tag teams of Kurt Angle and The Rock facing off against Hulk Hogan and Brock Lesnar. Rock and Kurt Angle pick up the win. It's a pretty big match, and it looks like both The Rock and Kurt Angle did a 100, so that's really good. Hulk Hogan got a 73, which I'm not surprised because he is a little past his prime. I didn't really think about it until afterwards, but I did make this a longer match, so hopefully that wasn't too long for Hulk Hogan, because the last thing I want to do right now is injure him, so I'll probably try to keep that in mind moving forward. And now that this is over, let's see how we did in terms of ratings. And I forgot to do the story time thing, so I could tell that it's going to be a little lower. Oh, that's right, too. There's just a random angle with The Rock and Kurt Angle afterwards. 78, so yeah, like I said. And I literally have a big sticky note here telling me to remember to do storytelling. But outside of that, I'll still take the 78 because that's pretty good, because I've gotten like 60s before, and usually everybody gets mad about that. But I think as long as I remember to actually do matches with storytelling, then we should be able to pull 80s pretty easily. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump to the emails. It looks like we have a possible signing as well. I ended up giving everybody bonuses, and Trish is still mad, so she can get over herself. So unfortunately, Crash Holly got injured. Let's see if he's out for a while. So it looks like he's going to be out for a month, so that's always never a good thing, but at least he will be back in a month. Some people are out for like many of months. Hulk Hogan does not like Billy Kidman. I'm pretty sure he complained about him last week too. And then The Undertaker does not like X-Pac, which is interesting because people like Triple H and Shawn Michaels really like X-Pac. So now let's go ahead. I forgot to delete the emails, and let's see what this is about. Good, so we got Sable to sign a contract with us, so let's go ahead. I'm not sure actually if I want her as a heel or a face. Because we need more faces, but she doesn't really seem to fit as a face, so I'm gonna keep her as a heel because I actually have other ideas for who I could potentially use as a face. And now, at the current moment, I don't have anybody else that I'm waiting for, minus just these two, which I'm pretty sure they're going to re-sign with us, and Sable is not available for another week, so by then I will also figure out if I want to throw her on Raw or SmackDown. So I guess I will just jump through the rest of the days to see if we get either Raven or D'Lo to re-sign the contracts with us. Alright, so luckily D'Lo Brown is already fully fit. I forgot he got injured last week, so now we don't have to worry about him for a little while, unless of course somebody injures him again, which is always possible. But it seems like minus Bull Buchanan, the only person that's really injured people so far is Ron Simmons. So now it looks like the big boss man is still upset that he is in development. So I think I'm just gonna finally bring him up because he is not happy that he is down in developmental, which he's supposed to be a trainer, but it looks like they have him as a main eventer for some reason. I think in order to do this, let me just delete all. I have to go to the development, and then we can bring Big Boss Man up. So let's go ahead and recall you. And while I'm at it, I think we're gonna leave AJ for another week or two, because I was thinking of bringing him up, but I want to do just like at least one more or two more pre-show matches just to get him up to speed. And then there's nobody else really that I think is totally ready to come up yet. We might possibly bring Daphne up. And then I should also look to see where Natty's at, because she could be another face that we could bring onto the roster. And then I should also see too, it looks like probably contract negotiations with Raven. So let's go ahead and complete his contract. And then it looks like Brian Kendrick wants a raise, so that's kind of interesting. So he's currently being paid $1,500 per month, which is a lot lower than the $3,510 that he's worth. I am requesting a $2,000 pay raise, which he's been doing pretty good, so I think he fully deserves that pay raise. Which reminds me too, I never actually changed his name, even though it said Brian Kendrick there. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly. We're gonna do, well, I guess I have to actually just manually do it. So let's go ahead and type in Brian Kendrick. So luckily it's just as easy as that. We can go ahead and save, and actually, whatever, we'll just save it as that. And I want to check his popularity pretty quickly too, because for him to be asking for that much money, he must have like jumped in popularity. Oh yeah, he's at 35 in most regions and 40 in the tri-state, which is kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure he did not really have that much popularity at all. Yeah, he had like 14 in most regions, 20 in the Great Lakes, 20 in the Southeast. So it's kind of just all over the place. So he's definitely jumping up there with popularity pretty fast. And last, I'm pretty sure I had him in a heat match and he performed very well. So he's somebody that I'm going to keep growing, which reminds me too, he probably might even be able to be, no, he's still enhancement and talent. But sometimes when you look at it, they can jump up to like opener and just, yeah, random things. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just simulate a couple more days just to see if D'Lo Brown wants to renegotiate the contract with us. Alright, so it looks like Juventud Guerrera is ready to now fully be on our roster, so we can go ahead and assign him a position. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm thinking it's gonna be like, okay, enhancement talent, so let's just throw him as enhancement talent for now, and then we're gonna assign him to SmackDown because he's gonna be good for the cruiserweight division. And then the Big Boss Man is gonna want a position, so let's go ahead and give him one. He is still kind of pissed at us because we took a long time to bring him up from developmental. I'm sorry, man, but I didn't have any good ideas for you. So I'm going to go ahead, sign him as a mid-carder, and then we're going to go with Raw just to give them another guy. And now I'm assuming this is probably D'Lo Brown, so let's go ahead, complete your contract, and yeah, that's probably going to be it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope y'all have a really wonderful day. Bye.